What do printed circuit boards, commercial real estate, and hospitality have in common? Michelle Boissoneau-DuPont knows, and welcome to the Language of Business.
Thank you for having me.
So how do all of these relate?
Basically, it's because of my family business. We evolved from printed circuit boards, and then from the success of that business, we grew into doing real estate, as well as we moved into hospitality, where we do an inn, a spa, and a conference center in Laconia, New Hampshire.
But this wasn't part of some overall business plan.
Not at all, no. No, printed circuit boards, we started like 40 years ago. My dad and my grandfather started, and throughout the years, the entire family has worked there at one point in time. We expanded into real estate. It supported the printed circuit board industry because we needed different buildings, because we grew into, at one time, 5 different manufacturing facilities. So from there, we expanded the real estate into doing residential as well, and we have other commercial properties. We purchased a building on Lake Opeechee in Laconia, New Hampshire, considered putting manufacturing in there. The community actually started asking to utilize some of the space for some different charitable functions. From there, we said, okay, let's dress up the space a little bit. We started with the conference center. Of course, what goes with the conference center? We started needing lodging for the guests that were coming for some of the trade shows that were happening. And then we just went with it.
And all 3 of those businesses are still operating today?
Actually, we just closed down the printed circuit board industry. Definitely, if you know anything about the industry, it has moved offshore.
Yes.
So there's a big change, but that was perfect for our family because it gave us a segue into the hospitality business, which has been really good for us. And we continue with the real estate as well.
Is there any learning that is common to all 3?
Basically, it's getting along, and it's really the human relations, because it's unique being in a family business, some of the challenges that you face. But you find that the way that you deal with each other helps you to deal with your employees as well. One of the things my dad always did was inspired loyalty. It always amazed me. When he closed down the business 40 years, there were still people that were with him from the beginning. So I think that the learning experience was carrying that inspiration of loyalty through to the other businesses as well.
And which of the 3 excites you the most?
I guess I'd have to say the hospitality, since that's where I am. It was really fun to design. We have a big old mill building on Lake Opeechee, and my passion is more of the design part. So being able to take this big mill building and break it down and put, I say to people, having a house with 34 bedrooms is fun. You can do any colors you want, any kind of designs you want. Our inn has 34 rooms that are, every single one is decorated differently.
On your email address, you list yourself only as an innkeeper. Why not president, CEO, or chief hospitality master?
It's another thing I learned from my dad, and that's to be humble. My father was classic for, at one point in time, being so successful he could have driven any car he wanted, and he drove a minivan. And he said that he is no different than the people that work for him, that we wouldn't have our success without the people that work for us. So I will tell you that you can come to the inn, and my husband will be doing laundry, I'll be cleaning rooms. If that's what needs to be done, that's what needs to be done. I feel that we're the same as everyone else. Yes, we happen to be carrying the reins, and we happen to be carrying that responsibility. At the same time, it's our responsibility to work with everybody. So I think innkeeper pretty much covers it, because that's really what I do.
How active are your nieces and nephews in business strategy as opposed to operations?
I have one nephew who, he's not stationed at the inn. He was, and then he went off to school, and he also went off and made some other career choices. And one of the things that we've learned over the years is when you're coming into a family business, you should work somewhere else at some point in time so that you can experience it and make sure it's something that you want to do to come back to the family business. But with that said, this particular individual, we consult back and forth on a regular basis. He also assists us with some of the marketing. He does a lot of research and then brings it to the table and says, okay, what if we did this? Right now, he's looking at how do we diversify and expand, but have it complement what we're currently doing. So one of the things that we are looking at is actually, we're expanding our gift shop, and then we're also looking at a clothing line, and that's kind of exciting. What keeps you up more at night, managing the family or managing the business itself? That's a good question. I sleep really well, so maybe that's really, I think probably, honestly, managing the business. Really, it's the employees, they depend on you, their families are depending on you, and it can be challenging. The human relations part of a business is hard. You have different personalities and different things going on in everybody's lives and challenges. You want them to be there at work, they've got other things going on, you have to figure out how to work with that and get the rest of the team to back it up. And I think that's probably it, is making sure that everyone's happy. We want people to come to work and enjoy it, not be, miserable about coming to work. In the dog days of summer? Our dogs are the most famous dogs you will ever meet. We actually have locals who come and they bring dog bones to the dogs on a regular basis once a week. We also, our guests, some of them will book and they'll be coming to see the dogs. It's crazy. The dogs will get mail. They get people's leftovers from the restaurant. They have the biggest fan base it's unbelievable. And people get to bring their dogs and they really enjoy that as well.
Michelle, thank you.
Thank you.
Michelle Boissoneau-DuPont, innkeeper at the Lake Opeechee Inn in Laconia, New Hampshire.